Hi guys, I seldom agree with Nigel Farage, but he was completely correct when he said that one of the reasons Tory leadership candidate Robert Jenrick isn't doing so well is because he's trying to out-Farage. He also had some harsh words for the former immigration minister regarding his charisma here. So the absentee Clacton MP was asked about the current Tory party race for leader, and he predicted that James Cleverly, the former Home Secretary, would be the next to head the Conservatives. And he also claimed that such a result will be great for Reform UK. Have a listen to this.
What is fairly clear is that the Jenrick campaign is faltering really quite badly. And I think overall, I think Cleverly now must be favourite.
I mean, what does that say, though, Jenrick's faltering? Since a lot of people said he was close to you in the leadership race.
Well, Jenrick tried to be Nigel Farage. I mean, I can give him lessons if he wants and coach him, but you can't try out Farage unless you've got a track record in actually believing in these things. And for him to suddenly have this sort of conversion on ECHR and other things, not very believable, and I shouldn't say it really, but no charisma at all to back any of it up.
And so, I mean, if Cleverly wins and Keir starts Minister, and it's to reign the moderates in Westminster, where does that leave Reform?
Well, Cleverly versus Starmer would be just almost identical twins, really, on virtually everything. And the gap for Reform is getting bigger and bigger. But I mean, the honest truth is Reform's strength from here won't come from Conservative votes, because they're almost down to a baseline of where they're going to be. Our future is going to come from Labour.
And maybe he's right. Maybe the future will lie with Labour voters. We'll have to wait and see whether that actually pans out. Now, I think it's interesting what he said here about Robert Jenrick. Robert Jenrick was trying to out Nigel Farage, and you can't. You know, you go further to the right of Nigel Farage, you end up in BNP, English Defence League, Tommy Robinson territory, and that's not going to win over enough supporters within the Conservative Party. The Conservative supporters are crazy headbangers, but the far right that exists within the Conservative Party is still limited. There are a lot of them, but not enough to win the leadership. And I think a problem for Robert Jenrick as well is Kemi Badenoch, another extremist. So they're splitting the far-right vote within the Conservative Party between them, and this is creating a gap for James Cleverly. Now, at the very beginning of this race, I predicted that James Cleverly would win it because I think he's the best the Conservatives could hope for. And that's not saying a lot. The whole range of candidates are pretty terrible, and they're always going to have this problem with legacy. You know, all of them were members of the previous administrations, and until the Conservatives bring in somebody fresh, I think Labour are just going to point the finger and say, look, you were responsible for the last 14 years. You are part of that disaster, and it's going to be difficult for them to distance themselves from that. Now, when it comes to Reform, they are going to be chasing Labour voters. They're going to be chasing the people who voted for Brexit in 2016, but still vote for the Labour Party, trying to win those people over, probably on the issue of immigration, saying that, look, the Conservatives didn't deliver the right type of Brexit, they didn't bring down immigration. Look at what Labour's doing. Labour is doing pretty much the same thing. They're talking tough, but they're not bringing down immigration numbers. And of course, they're going to eat away a little bit at Labour's support base there. Whether they will succeed or not, I don't know. But there have been a number of constituencies where Reform came in pretty close to Labour, and this is going to be a bit of a problem for them going forward. It's important that Labour deal with the issue of immigration. However they deal with it, we'll have to wait and see. But if they're able to take the heat out of that topic, they'll be able to thwart Farage and Reform somewhat. But there are other issues that Reform will, of course, turn to. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.